We have edging towards the 100,000 tested cases so far at 98,439, confirmed cases being 2,862, and recoveries 899. The deaths so far stand at 85. Well, we have the statistics and the figures plus much more after the highlights.
You respect the rule of law. I urge you to now demonstrate that faith and respect the rule of law by complying with those two court orders.
Chief Justice David Maraga blames the executive for impeding justice by delaying the appointment of 41 judges. Clock ticks on Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula's bid to remain Ford Kenya leader as political parties registrar gazettes his replacement.
Today, I'm delighted to inform you that we have discharged a record of 97 patients from various hospitals countrywide.
Kenya registers a record 97 COVID-19 patient recoveries, even as 95 others test positive. Remember, you can be part of this broadcast. Hit me up on Twitter at BenTroyNjoy, at KBC Channel 1. The hashtag to use as always is NewsHour. You can tell us where you're watching us from. Any suggestion, comments will be highly welcome. I'm BenTroyNjoy. Lensa Odingo is my co-pilot on the bottom right of your screen. Well, we do begin our broadcast tonight from the corridors of justice, where Chief Justice David Maraga has taken issue with the manner the executive is treating the judiciary. Maraga lamented that the president's failure to appoint 41 judges forwarded to him last year by the Judicial Service Commission has led to a huge backlog of cases in court. The Chief Justice said that as a result of the shortage of judges, the earliest hearing a case lodged in 2020 can be heard will be in 2022.
The President of the Supreme Court says he is not aware that some of the judicial appointees had integrity queries that could have stalled their appointment. Maraga says his efforts to seek dialogue with the head of state has failed, leaving him with no option but to resort to going public about his frustrations.
The laws of this country include valid court orders. It therefore behoves you to appoint the 41 judges recommended for appointment by the JSC as ordered by the court without any further delay.
In 2019, the Judicial Service Commission forwarded the names of 41 judicial nominees for appointment as judges, but the President declined to approve the appointment, citing integrity issues against some nominees.
Some of the individuals the executive claims to have adverse information against are serving judges. If the executive's allegations are true, these persons should not then be serving as judges.
The Chief Justice says due to the shortage of judges, Kenyans are being denied justice, as the earliest hearing of cases lodged in 2020 will be in 2022.
The numbers of cases pending before our courts and the number of judges we have in our superior courts make for a grim reality for those of you who will be filing cases before our courts, especially in Nairobi, in the coming days.
The Chief Justice said the tendencies by the executive to disobey court orders was setting bad precedents, even as he called on the head of state to direct the Attorney General to take stock of all outstanding court decrees against the government and honor them.
Chief Justice David Maraga says the government should be in the forefront in upholding the rule of law. Maraga argues that the government cannot demand of its citizens the obedience of the law. It is itself disobeying with abandon. For Channel 1 News, I am Edward Kabasa.
From the judiciary to some politics now, Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula's battle to remain the Ford Kenya party leader has been dealt a big blow after the registrar of political parties gave a nod on his removal and subsequent replacement by Kanduyi legislator Wafula Wamunyinyi. In the Gazette notice, the Registrar of Political Parties, Anne Deritu, has also approved the oust of the party's National Organizing Secretary, Chris Mandu, and his replacement with Josephine Waungu. Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula's survival as the leader of Ford Kenya hangs in the balance after a Gazette notice concerning the intended change was issued on Monday, giving a 7-day notice showing intent of replacing him. In the Gazette notice, the Registrar of Political Parties gave a green light to members of the public with written submissions concerning the intended change by the political party to do so within 7 days and deposit them with the Registrar of Political Parties. He also gave notice for the replacement of the National Organizing Secretary, Chris Maundu, with Josephine Maungu. Wetangula was dethroned after a party meeting convened by Wamunyinyi last week, who accused him of failing to steer the party. However, Wetangula dismissed the purported meeting by the party's National Executive Committee, claiming he can only be removed by party elections. Elsewhere, Mumias East MP Benjamin Washiali and ANC party chairman Kevin Lunani want the government to take action on leaders who flout the government directives aimed at averting the spread of the coronavirus. Speaking in Mumias, the leaders urged the state to prosecute the leaders holding political meetings in the wake of coronavirus pandemic. Lunani has also noted that ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi as the bona fide leader of Western Kenya, rubbishing the meeting held recently by KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli.
Ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba huyo ndio mshikiliaji yeye aliyepewa ngao mbele ya watu zaidi ya 1 milioni ndani ya Buhungu, kila mtu akishuhudia. Na ndipo tunasema yeye bado ni msemaji, yeye bado ni mnenaji, yeye ndiye yako kichwa mbele katika mkoa wa Magharibi.
Elsewhere, the country has discharged 97 COVID-19 patients in the last 24 hours, the highest since the pandemic was first reported in March. The development coming even as 95 new cases were confirmed over the same period, with the Ministry of Health urging Kenyans to prepare for home-based care for coronavirus patients as the country's healthcare system is nearing a tip point. Purity Musel with that report.
For the first time since the first coronavirus case was reported in the country, Kenya has recorded a higher number of recoveries, with 97 patients discharged from hospitals after full recovery.
I'm delighted to inform you that we have discharged a record of 97 patients from various hospitals countrywide. This now raises our tally of recoveries to 849. This is the highest number of recoveries that we have recorded in a 24-hour period.
Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Rashid Aman noting that this was a proof that the disease was not a death sentence.
The concern now is whether the increasing number of infections will challenge and even overwhelm our healthcare facilities. We should not allow ourselves to get to this point.
Over a similar period, 95 more patients tested positive for the virus from 1,096 samples tested, taking the tally of infections to 2,862.
Mombasa, 56 cases. Nairobi, 13 cases. Busia, 10 cases. Kajiado, 6 cases. Kilifi, 3 cases. Kitui, Kwale, Garissa, and Marsabit each have 1 case.
Mombasa cases were in Mvita, Changamwe, Nyali, Kisauni, Likoni, and Jomvu. Those in the Nairobi metropolitan area were recorded in Kibra, and 1 case each in Langata, Kasarani, Dagoretti North. In Kajiado, the 6 cases are from Kajiado Town, Kajiado East, and Kajiado North. In Kilifi, the 3 cases are from Kilifi North, while Kitui has 1 case from Kitui Central. Kwale's 1 case is from Sambweni, Garissa from Dadaab, while Marsabit becomes the latest county to record a positive case, whereas all the 3 Nyeri infections were from healthcare workers. The Minister of Health is now proposing that people above 60 years and caregivers, as well as those with underlying conditions, wear N95 masks due to the high risk of contracting the virus.
You may be aware that the WHO has issued new guidelines which require that people above 60 years, as well as those with underlying conditions, are advised to wear the N95 particulate masks at all times when in public places.
Kenyans should also brace for home care program for COVID-19 patients as the infections graph continues to rise. The Ministry of Health insists we are yet as a nation to get to the peak of the coronavirus pandemic, and owing to the already stretched health facilities, the behavior of Kenyans will determine whether the curve will continue to rise or flatten. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News, Nairobi.
Normal activities continue to take shape at Nairobi's Eastleigh estate 2 days since the cessation of movement in and out of the area was lifted by the government. Already, regular customers have started flocking the business hub in a bid to restock their shops. But as it might be a relief to many, concerns are high over the containment of the spread of the disease, as social distancing once more remains a nightmare in the highly crowded business center.
Ikra Home Fashions is one of the shops here in Eastleigh Estate where business is already up and running. For the last 30 days, however, the shop had closed its doors due to poor business that resulted from the cessation of movement in and out of Eastleigh.
Just adjust it from the time ilifunguliwa, tena tumefungua, and now you can see even for yourself we are working. At least we are sure today kuna unga.
Unlike Ikra Home Fashions though, Abdul Rahman, who deals in cloth business, opted to remain open. But income, he says, was a nightmare. He only survived on a few savings.
Tulikuwa tunakuja tu bila cash. Kurudi kwa nyumba tunarudi tu bila pesa.
But days after the resumption of normalcy, business is yet to peak as traders struggle to pull through the unpredicted losses.
Vitu mingi imeenda chini. Kama kitu tulikuwa tunauza so 8, si hadi mtu ukiwaambia achukue na so 500, haiwezi kubali, hadi anajua hakuna pesa.
A spot check on the situation day 2 since the ban was lifted, however, revealed that it's not just the business people who had a tough time. Customers who were regular visitors of the famous business hub Eastleigh Center could not help but flock the area.
Juu nilienda Kikomba kutafuta kenye nilikuwa nataka sikupata, ndio nauliza huyo mtu wa Kikomba akina watafungua Eastleigh lini? Ati Eastleigh si walikuwa wamefungua leo. Nikamwambia ukweli, ati nikasema tu kesho itabidi niraukie huku.
We had to put everything on hold. Yes, so kama orders za curtain too, we had to talk to the clients who are postponed to kiasi tuone for how long it's going to be on lockdown. So I was eager on Saturday kusikia kama Prezo atafungua Eastleigh so that I come shop.
Business people who commuted to Eastleigh from neighboring estates also finding the lifting of the cessation of movement a relief. Some say they had to bribe their way into Eastleigh to do their businesses.
Lakini tulikuwa na wakati mgumu kuingia, unapeana kitu kidogo ndio ingie. Sasa tulikuwa na wakati mgumu, tunapitia hali ngumu, juu kukula inakuwa sana ni shida, ni hapo ndio tunapata chakula cha kila siku.
Kuna Wakenya wenzangu kama mimi ambao wamepoteza sheria zao kama kitambulisho, vitu zingine, na bado tunasumbuliwa nayo tukiulizwa. So tungeomba serikali watufungulie huduma center, hata kama ni mtu mmoja wawili, wakae watusaidia angalau tupate vitambulisho vyetu.
But concerns continue to be rife over the spread of the viral disease in the ever-crowding business center. A quick glance revealed a varying scenario. Though most had a face mask on, some failed to properly wear the protective gear. Social distance also continues to be a challenge.
It's a sigh of relief for residents here in Eastleigh who have been living off their savings. But as business slowly resumes back to normal, perhaps it's about time the residents be cautious to avoid another phase of a rise in infections. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News, Eastleigh, Nairobi County.
From the reopening of Eastleigh to the reopening of Old Town, 2 days after the lapse of the 1-month cessation ban on movement in and out of Mombasa Old Town, business is back to normal, with the residents and traders optimistic of better tidings. The Markiti market, which had gone silent for weeks, was bubbling with life as traders and customers tried to make up lost ground. However, the Makinon groceries market remained closed following ongoing renovations.
Located in the central business district, Old Town harbors numerous business stalls that serves majority of Mombasa residents. But after almost a month under zero operations following the partial lockdown of Mombasa's Old Town and the eventual lifting of the same 2 days ago, the residents in their numbers flocked the reopened stalls. Despite the new development, the business community in the area lamented on the losses they have incurred during this period, but still remained optimistic that their businesses will peak.
Tumeteseka mwezi mzima, lakini tunashukuru Mungu tumefunguliwa. Mungu atujalie bwana, biashara yetu rudi salama na ugo corona hii tuomba Mungu tuondoke corona hii.
Biashara sasa hii inarudi sawa sawa vile ilivyo, japokuwa Ramadhani ilikuwa tunataka tufanye biashara yetu inaenda na sikukuu kama Christmas, sikukuu ya Ramadhani. Alhamdulillah, lakini tunashukuru sasa hivi vile inarudi mosmos.
Once bitten, twice shy. The residents are taking safety measures by ensuring their stalls have sanitizers and customers have to don face masks.
Ndio sheria tuweke sanitizer, maji, watu 5, zaidi ya watu 5 tusiweke yani pamoja. Hiyo sheria ambayo imeletwa tutafuata vile ilivyo inshallah.
Hai sasa jamanini, vaeni barakoa, tusaidiane hizi vitu. Wazijua tusaidiane hizi vitu, tuangalie wale tufanye usafi na tuangalie vijana wapate kuendelea na kazi.
But even as the Marikiti market traders celebrate the reopening of the facility, their Makinon market counterparts have to wait a little longer as the market is undergoing some renovations.
Sisi tutachelewa kurudi hapa ndani. Kulingana kuna ujenzi ndani ulikuwa umemalizika, lakini kulingana na barabara inayoendelea hii Kabro, sasa ndio tupelekea sisi hatujui tutarudi lini katika soko hili letu la Marikiti.
After the 1-month cessation directive was lifted, residents of Old Town have vowed to ensure that they don their masks just as a precaution to COVID-19 disease. From Old Town in Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
Indeed, a big relief for traders and residents of the two towns. You are watching Channel 1 News Hour. I can see Winnie Murugi. You're watching from Roy Sambu. Peggy, Sydney, Cynthia, Kuria, and all watching from Buruburu. Where are you watching us from? Your comments, suggestion on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Twitter. We are live. We're taking our first short break, but we'll be right back with more news.
Juzi mimi ninakuja, ninatoka nje, ninawacha simu hapo. Nikirudi kutoka raundi napata 4 miss call ya kutoka kwa bibi. Nikimuuliza ulikuwa unapiga unasema nini? Ananiambia eti alikuwa ananipigia, aniambie nimesahau simu.
Kupata missed call, bonyeza *811 *967#. Bonyeza *811
Kumbe bibi ananipenda.
On the next episode of Corner.
I wanted you to know that I've decided to look into the drugging.
Why?
I know Abasi has something to do with it. Iron my shirts and have my babies.
Can I help you, Simon?
The secret admirer, a Mr. Tenor.
What do you think?
Ukiwa unataka kuandika list ya vitu unataka kufanya before you die, they need to be daring, thrilling.
Andika yako.
I fell in love with him. It happened.
Who falls in love with their own brother?
Technically, he isn't really your blood.
Just you and I.
It's the Sundowner.
Mother, how are you today?
La 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 la.
Join the caravan of love, the Sunset Love, Sundowner on KBC English Service. Sundowner, celebrating love and life.
Welcome back. Moving on, Busia County officials now want the national government to intervene and clear traffic SNARL-UP experienced for 5 days now. A system failure at the Uganda's clearance side said to have delayed trucks from crossing over, with locals fearing the pileup will lead to a rapid spread of the coronavirus in the area. Take a look.
The pileup of transit trucks stretches well over 13 kilometers from the Busia border point.
Shida madogo napitia sio serikali ya Kenya, ni serikali ya Uganda. Sababu madogo napimwa Uganda, wanakaa siku 5 siku 6 ndio matokeo ikuje.
Ndio nimepimwa, lakini majibu nimeambiwa ndayangoja baada ya siku ngapi? 2. Sasa kutoka hapa hata nikifika kule sitaweza kuvuka. Sasa ile shida nimeona pale ni upande wa madaktari na pia upande wa custom.
In fact, us as a county, we are more concerned with our own security because of the fact that when they are there, it's not just COVID-19 that we are looking at. Remember, majority of these trucks are carrying fuel. And in an unfortunate event that there is an accident, there's a fire, then the whole town is likely to burn.
Locals now worry the continued stay of the truck drivers in the community may spell doom, as the county's health system is said to be overwhelmed by the coronavirus cases.
Na tukipata tutapeleka manyumbani mwetu, na hapa niyo mahali tunafanyia biashara. Sasa tunapopeleka huko tutashindwa, na kwa sababu sisi ni watu ambao tunakaa katika nyumba moja, unakuta kuna watu kama 10, kuna watu 3, 4, 5 namna hiyo.
Sasa wewe uko peke yako, uko tuko madereva peke yetu hapa. Hapa hakuna mfereji, natakuwa uoshe mikono. Hapa wananchi wa area hii lazima wako karibu hapa kila wakati. Mtu atakuja kusalimia, utakosa kumsalimia.
The county officials are now blaming system failure on the Ugandan side for the SNARL-UP.
And so this is a matter that we've been able to raise with the national government because we believe it is an issue that requires discussions beyond the level of the county.
The officials say with the prevailing conditions at the county level, it is just a matter of time before cases of community infection go full-blown. Busia County, in partnership with a number of organizations, is set to begin random testing of locals to ascertain the spread of the virus.
We want to start with the hotspot, the sub-counties that are the hotspot, and that is Matayos, where Busia is, and also Teso North, where Malaba border is. And therefore they are coming up with a sampling technique. And the reason why we want to sample is because we don't have enough kits to test everybody.
Achola Simon reporting for Channel 1 News from Busia County.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union wants more health workers employed to handle the surge in COVID-19 confirmed cases at the community level. The union claims the health sector has a shortage of more than 600 doctors, 1,000 nurses, 360 clinical officers, and 572 lab personnel.
The surge on coronavirus confirmed cases is now shifting focus on how the country is prepared to handle the infections at the community level. So far, 84 health workers across the country are among patients suffering from COVID-19.
Nairobi has 31, Mombasa 41, Kiambu so far 4, and the counties of Kitui, Machakos, Laikipia and Kajiado have reported 1 each as we speak.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union Secretary General Dr. Chibanzi Mwachonda says 60% of the infections among medics are workplace related. Majority of the health workers are said to have contracted coronavirus at quarantine centers and hospitals after coming into contact with infected patients. The union says for the country to optimally combat the diseases, it will require more soldiers on the ground, and as a matter of urgency, additional healthcare personnel must be employed.
We have the projections that each 300-bed facility will require in terms of human resources for health 636 doctors, 1,000 nurses, 360 clinical officers, 572 laboratory personnel, among other personnel.
As we talk today, there's already a 5 billion conditional grant that has already gone to the counties. The question is, what have they done with that money? If they put priority yes, they have the ability and the capability to put up a 300 isolation bed facility.
KMP due for the once county governments to implement CBA Article 6 on health insurance for public servants towards affordable and quality health insurance. Irene Mchuma Udim, Channel 1.
Moving on, the Kenya private schools teachers want the government to consider them as vulnerable groups in the country and cushion them from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. The teachers claim they have suffered a lot because they have not been paid their salaries by their employers from April, when schools were suddenly shut down after the pandemic hit the country.
According to the government, thousands of needy households across the country continue to receive weekly stipends to support themselves during this coronavirus period. And now teachers from private schools drawn from Nairobi want the government and the Ministry of Education to consider them as vulnerable group to enable them benefit from the program.
We are dying, and we are not just dying, we are dying because of depression, hunger, and so many other things. Since this pandemic was declared in Kenya, we have never been paid.
As private schools entirely depend on school fees paid by parents, the teachers said their employers have not been able to pay salaries from March.
Tutengee pesa fulani, hata kama ni kwa wiki, hata kama ni kwa mwezi. We are tired. Some of us, we have lost jobs. We are not getting anything. Our houses are closed. Nani inakuwa sasa aibu.
The teachers further want the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, to facilitate employment of teachers, mostly who graduated 10 years ago. Similar calls were made in Nakuru as teachers under the umbrella Nakuru County Board of Management and Private Schools Association said the closure of schools has had a negative impact on their payrolls.
We've seen funds have been set aside for this other industry. We call it the tourism industry, the music industry also. But the question is, what about Mwalimu? What about the teachers? Teachers are also assailable. They are also vulnerable.
We are lacking representation completely, and the government is silent on us. Our cry today is that the government should hear us.
The group observed that with the extension of the reopening of schools to September, most teachers are staring a grim future and should be listed among the vulnerable, as a number of them have had their contracts terminated by their various schools due to cost implications. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Across borders, at least 7 million COVID-19 confirmed cases have been recorded and more than 400,000 deaths worldwide, according to Johns Hopkins University. Meanwhile, in the United States, a forecast published by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has projected more than 127,000 coronavirus deaths will be recorded by June 27 this year.
Coronavirus cases in the United States are nearing 2 million, and at least 110,514 people have died of the virus. New York City has the highest number of cases at 378,097 and the most deaths at 30,374. There are now more than 7 million cases worldwide and 400,000 deaths globally. This even as new study published Monday in the scientific journal Nature suggests that large-scale shutdown policies such as ordering people to stay home and closing schools implemented after the coronavirus pandemic prevented more than 500 million total infections across all 6 countries, including China, South Korea, Italy, Iran, France, and the United States. In US alone, the study shows that there will be roughly 60 million more coronavirus infections across the country if emergency COVID-19 policies were not implemented. Meanwhile, after a 78-day lockdown, New York City entered the first phase of reopening, with some non-essential workers allowed to go back to work and retail stores allowed to reopen for pickup. Similarly, Russia is partially reopening its borders for several kinds of trips following an announcement by Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin. Russians will be able to travel abroad to care for relatives, undergo medical treatment, and work or study. Foreigners will also be able to enter Russia for medical purposes. Elsewhere, New Zealand has lifted almost all of its coronavirus restrictions after reporting no active cases in the country. At midnight local time, all of New Zealand moved to level 1, the lowest of a 4-tier alert system. Under new rules, social distancing is not required and there are no limits on public gatherings, but borders remain closed to foreigners. New Zealand has reported no new COVID-19 cases for more than 2 weeks. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Closer home, President Uhuru Kenyatta on Saturday directed the Education Ministry to prepare for reopening of schools beginning September. The head of state further directed a new school calendar should be prepared and released by mid-August. Here are the health guidelines learning institutions should adhere to before reopening.
The Ministry of Health has been working with the Ministry of Education to advise them on the preparations that they need to make as we are considering the reopening of schools. One of the considerations that one of the recommendations that we've given to them is to consider infrastructural adjustments. In that case, we are looking at classrooms, dining facilities. For boarding schools, we are also looking at the dormitories. We are looking at libraries and all the shared spaces, bearing in mind the need for social distancing for learners. We are also focusing on availability of water. Schools need to have running source of water, whether it's water tanks from water tanks, having enough hand washing points for learners in every school. We are also considering the issues of sanitation facilities, having available toilets for boys and girls, considering the recommendation for sanitation facilities, where we look at one toilet for every 30 boys or one toilet for every 25 girls. We are also advising them to have every school linked to a health facility, just in case a child is found either to have signs and symptoms of COVID or even one of the workers in the school. They should have a link facility where they can refer or where they can have the link facility visit the school and support them in case of that. The other consideration we have made is that they should have a well-coordinated school meals program, because due to the effects of COVID in many households, many families are actually even going without meals. So it would be good for schools to be that one source where children can at least take, even if it's one meal per day.
And the national government has begun dispersing relief foods to over 48,000 flood victims in Tana River County following heavy rains in many parts of the country. Interior Ministry Chief Administrative Secretary Hussein Dado said they so far have distributed relief food worth 13 million shillings to flood victims across the country.
Speaking at Manono in Tana Delta Sub-County during the launch of the distribution of relief food to flood victims in Kipini West Ward, Interior Ministry Chief Administrative Secretary Hussein Dado said the area residents have been given first priority because they cannot access essential facilities due to heavy rains.
Ili chakula hii ikiingia isikae kama store kama zamani. Kuanzia leo, kama chakula nakuja kwa ajili ya watu wa msaada, hakuna ruhusa ya kuwekwa kwa store. Hii sisi tutafuatia na tutahakikisha wananchi mupate.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Forest Service has unearthed an illegal logging syndicate in the North Rift region. Scores of suspects are in custody and timber worth millions of shillings impounded.
We were able to get an information that there was a lorry ferrying 77 bags of charcoal all the way from Kakuma in Turkana County, ferrying them, taking them to Nairobi to the market.
In the meantime, about 500 youth drawn from 6 sub-counties of Kitui are benefiting from an ongoing mango farming training.
We have organized the county into clusters in 6 sub-counties: Mwingi Central, Mwingi West, Kitui West, Kitui Central, Miambani, Kitui Rural, and Kitui South, where there is high potential for mango growing.
Elsewhere, Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui has poked holes into the recently commissioned inland container depot in Maimayu, Naivasha, saying it could end up being an epicenter for COVID-19 cases.
Na hivyo basi masharti ambayo serikali imetoa, masharti ya kuoga mikono kila wakati, masharti ya social distance, masharti ya kuvaa mask, lazima itiliwe mkazo na kila mtu.
In another development, Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua has expressed concerns over the rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in the country. Speaking in his office in Machakos, Dr. Mutua said he fully supports President Uhuru Kenyatta's decision on extend curfew and lockdown in the country.
We think that if we continue with the measures that the President has pushed and we continue being safe for another 1 month, then it will put us in a position to gauge properly what is working and what is not working. Kama hauna karatasi ya kuonyeshana ya kwamba ulipimwa Mombasa and you are negative, hata kuruhusu uingie Machakos County.
Finally, fresh produce farmers in Kinangop, Nyandarua County are crying foul over failure by the government to enforce the 50-kilogram potato packaging rule.
Viazi ni broker, cabbage ni broker, carrot ni broker. Na sasa wananunua vile wanataka. Kwa sababu hakuna kupeleka. Sasa ni lazima akikuja hiyo broker akwambia hata ni shilingi 10 utauza tu kwa sababu utapeleka wapi.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnoso.
And thousands are set to gather in Houston, Texas, USA, to remember George Floyd, an unarmed black man whose death in police custody sparked global protest. Floyd lived in the city before moving to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where he died on May 25th this year. A 6-hour public viewing of George Floyd's body will be held at the Fountain of Praise Church in Houston. In Minnesota, a white police officer accused of killing Floyd will appear before a judge for the first time. Derek Chauvin, who knelt on Floyd's neck for almost 9 minutes, was sacked and charged with second-degree murder. 3 other officers who were at the scene have also been sacked and charged with aiding and abetting. On Tuesday, a private funeral service will be held for Floyd in Houston. Memorial services have already been held in Minneapolis and North Carolina. Over the weekend, demonstrators continue to gather in U.S. cities including Washington, D.C., New York, and Los Angeles, where a local broadcaster estimated 20,000 people had rallied down Hollywood Boulevard. A majority of Minneapolis City Council has pledged to dismantle the local police department. The UK also saw sizable weekend protests in support of Black Lives Matter, with demonstrations in cities including London, Manchester, Cardiff, Leicester and Sheffield. In Bristol, protesters tore down the statue of a 17th century slave trader and threw it into the harbour. In Australia, tens of thousands joined anti-racism protests in Brisbane, Melbourne, Hobart, Adelaide and elsewhere despite warnings from officials over the coronavirus. Thank you so much indeed for keeping it at Channel 1. Johnson Smart, you're watching from Nairobi. James Nyakish, keeping us company from Seasons Kasarani. Lillian Wendonjage, you're watching from TRM Drive. Grace and Betty watching from Nakuru. Thank you so much. We're taking another short, quick break, but when we come on the other side of the break, we'll be having business news.
Top on Channel 1. Yote aliye na kinga hafifu mwilini yuko katika hatari ya kuambukizwa COVID-19.
Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70.
COVID-19 inazuilika. Jilinde, linda familia na jamii.
Hamjambo wa Kenya wenzangu.
Mimi ni Mheshimiwa Mize. Ninalotaka kuambia ni kuwasihi ya kwamba korona iko. Na ili tupigane nayo na tuishinde. Ukikohoa, tafadhali kama una ile ya kujifunika ile tissue, weka mkono hapa. Kama ni chafya yako acho na itabakia pale pale. Kama ni kukohoa yako koholea hapo. Na nakwambia tukizingatia sheria na tuitii, hii korona tutaishinda na nchi yetu tutarudi kama kawaida.
Welcome back. Let's do business. Poultry farmers are raising concerns that cheap imports from neighboring countries could drive them out of business. The farmers say that the pandemic has brought the industry to its knees due to low prices of poultry products, the problem being compounded by the cheap imports.
Poultry farmers in the country have in recent years been petitioning the government to put a brake on importation of poultry products from neighboring countries. As the consumer celebrates low prices for poultry products such as eggs and chicken, local farmers are staring at heavy losses since their cost of production is higher than the competition, which disadvantages their products in the market. They say this has been compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic and could drive them out of business when the African Free Continental Trade Area takes effect.
We have a big challenge with outside eggs like Ugandan eggs and Tanzanian eggs. And even the chicks, the day-old chicks. Because a day-old chick is costing at 70 shillings in Kenya. But when they bring from Uganda, they are bringing at 65. So undercutting the hatcheries in Kenya.
Zach Munyambu, Secretary General of Kiambu Poultry Farmers Cooperative Society, faulted the Agriculture Ministry for not addressing tax equalization, low cost of production and subsidies, which have reduced the competitiveness of locally produced poultry products in the Kenyan market.
Eggs are going at 250 as we speak with you now. And already we are at a loss. So if we open our borders for everyone to bring their products, we realize that the local markets and the local farmers will eventually close their businesses, and they have closed.
The farmers are calling on the government to fast-track the enactment and implementation of appropriate legislative and regulatory measures, including the Poultry Development Bill 2012, to create a conducive environment for the industry. The farmers want the government to help put in place policies that will offer Kenya a competitive edge ahead of implementation of the African Free Continental Trade Area. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Elsewhere, Patrick Nyaga has been appointed CIC Insurance Group Chief Executive Officer, taking over from Elijah Washira, who has been holding the position on acting capacity since October last year. The board of the listed insurer says Nyaga has the key strength that will enable him drive the business at this critical period.
In October last year, Tom Gitogo, who was until then the CIA Insurance Group CEO, left the company and was replaced by Elijah Washira in an acting capacity. The company then commenced the process of filling the position. And on Monday, the board of CIC Insurance Group has announced the appointment of Patrick Nyaga as the new CEO. The board says Nyaga, who takes over in 2 weeks, was picked due to his wide experience spanning 28 years. In a statement, the insurer said Nyaga's track record as champion for strategy, broad experience in operation efficiency and diverse leadership experience will be of great benefit to the insurance group. The board says Nyaga appointment has been approved by the Insurance Regulatory Authority. Meanwhile, the Capital Market Authority has issued guidelines to issuers of securities to the public of hosting virtual general meetings. The guidelines have been issued in line with the recent High Court ruling, the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the government directive banning public gatherings. CMA Acting Chief Executive Wycliffe Shamia says virtual AGMs should be held by issuers of securities to the public who find it impracticable to conduct a general meeting. He says the CMA will process applications received from issuers within 14 days. In a statement, Shamia said, quote, "In order to protect the rights of all shareholders, the CMA has emphasized that all shareholders should be given ample time to raise their questions and receive explanation from the directors or management," end of quotes. Benson Rioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
And the COVID-19 pandemic has elevated the status of health, manufacturing and infrastructure as key priority areas. In the 2020-2021 budget, the three are expected to be earmarked over 300 billion shillings as the government prioritizes key enablers that have a big impact on the lives of Kenyans. Ahead of the budget reading this Thursday, Betty Kiptum explores what to expect in National Treasury Ukuri Attorney's briefcase.
We are estimating at about 2.5%, but can go lower than that to 1.8 growth if the situation persists. Overall, factors against accelerated growth are likely to outweigh pro-growth aspects by far in 2020.
No doubt the 2020-2021 budget will be focused on recovery rather than growth. The government will be seeking to ensure priority areas are financed, even with the anticipated reduction in tax collections. Budgetary estimates on the National Treasury website indicate that most of the ongoing COVID mitigation response measures are funded outside the budget framework. The COVID-19 pandemic has adversely affected economic activities. The health sector now a point of concern, with the pandemic confirming challenges such as poorly equipped facilities as well as low staffing levels. Budget estimates show the sector will receive 112 billion shillings. The Parliamentary Budget Office has called for prioritization of the health sector in the 2020-2021 budget, suggesting that the Treasury can float a special COVID-19 bond to source funding for COVID-19 related expenditure.
In the current market conditions, we've seen a lot of the new issuance of the bonds have been undersubscribed, and that coupled with investors attaching a higher risk to the long-term bonds, as illustrated by the upward shift in the yield curve, the government will have to give more incentives to these investors in order for them to invest. So the 5% reduction is a much viable option.
The pandemic has showed that Kenya can rely on herself for materials that have for long been imported, from face masks to personal protective equipment. This has lifted the manufacturing sector.
I know that there will be thousands of tailors from all over the country who will also look to make these masks, and we encourage them to do so. The Ministry of Industry and Trade will endeavor to ensure that all these tailors are provided with the right information through the national government administrative officers on the kind of materials required and the proper method of piecing the fabrics together to make the face masks and to ensure that they are effective.
Manufacturing is one of the sectors that is benefiting from this, and this is attributable to the fact that some of these manufacturing businesses have been able to adapt to meet the gaps in the supply chain for the intermediate goods.
Parliament has suggested that some policy directions the Treasury could take include creation of a subsidy instrument to support entities participating in the manufacture of PPE and other COVID-related equipment, such as testing kits and associated reagents. The latest Kenya Association of Manufacturers report, titled "The Impact of COVID-19 on the Manufacturing Sector in Kenya," shows 91% of non-essential goods manufacturers saw a significant fall in demand. 74% of essential goods manufacturers also saw a fall in demand. And infrastructure, being at the heart of the government's Big Four plan, has seen expansion of facilities, including a scaled-up network of roads, railways, sea and airports. In the 2020-2021 financial year, about 190 billion shillings has been earmarked for infrastructure. Most of the money is expected to be used for completion of ongoing projects, in particular infrastructure projects with high impact on poverty reduction, equity and unemployment creation. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
And still on the budget, a section of real estate players want the government to offer tax incentives in this year's budget to protect the industry from adverse effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Mizizi Homes is urging the National Treasury to consider reducing home loan interest rates to incentivize the key sector.
Housing developers say low uptake of mortgage in Kenya due to the COVID-19 pandemic. To help cushion the industry, players want the National Treasury to give construction companies a one-year tax holiday to help them complete ongoing projects. They say this, coupled with the marginal reduction of taxes on construction materials like cement, steel and iron sheets to address the challenge of liquidity in the sector and stimulate construction activities, and home loan interest rates reduction will grow the sector post-COVID-19. Elsewhere, Housing Finance Group has completed the first phase of its Clay City project that consists of 83-bedroom apartments along the Thika Superhighway in Nairobi metropolitan area.
Hand over 80, we have got 80 units here. On this land, this land is over 30 acres. In Kenya, you can actually take part of your pension, to actually finance the home ownership of a house.
Housing Finance Group CEO Robert Kibara says construction of the second phase of the project is set to start and will comprise 800 units of 1 to 3 bedroom apartments.
Elsewhere, Huawei is launching a newspaper and internet campaign to mark 20 years of business in the UK. The Chinese telecoms company says it is as committed as ever to provide the best equipment to the UK's 5G mobile and full fiber broadband providers. It comes amid a new security review that could lead the UK government to ban use of Huawei's 5G network kit. Here are the details of this and other stories from across the borders.
Huawei's local boss said he expects the UK to act in the nation's interests. The initiative follows a report in Saturday's Daily Telegraph, which said London-headquartered bank HSBC fears it could face reprisals in China if the UK acts against Huawei. The Sunday Times also reported that China's ambassador to the UK had recently told business leaders that Beijing viewed the matter as a litmus test of whether Britain is a true and faithful partner. Victor Zhang, vice president of Huawei and head of its UK operations, says the advertising campaign was about giving people the facts amid all the noise surrounding the company. Meanwhile, Cafe Bazaar, a major Android app platform in Iran, is seizing the opportunity to not only realize the growth of its own business, but also increase the quality of life of many Iranian people living in isolation amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Iranian smartphone users have no access to Apple, Google, and some mobile app stores due to the sanctions imposed on Iran by the United States and other Western countries. Before the outbreak, the company had more than 45 million users and provided more than 180,000 mobile phone applications at home and abroad, easing the difficulties faced by Iranian smartphone users. Since the outbreak began in Iran in February, the company has decided to keep more than 700 employees working from home to provide services to the public. Finally, New Zealand's North Island is suffering from a severe drought, with little sign of relief for the declining water supply, as there has not been any significant rainfall since last November. There are 2 reservoirs in Auckland that provide domestic and commercial water for the city's 1.5 million people. The average storage capacity of the 2 reservoirs has dropped to 43%. Relevant data shows that from January to April this year, Auckland had 77 consecutive days without rain, setting a record for the driest period in history. This is the first time in more than 20 years that the storage has fallen below 50%.
Time to play now. We begin with athletics, where world 15 meters champion Timothy Cheruiyot has promised to do his best this Thursday during the inaugural MAURIE Plant Race, a 2,000 meters race that will be held in memory of MAURIE Plant, one of the most significant figures in Australian and world athletics, who died in January. Cheruiyot will be joined by his teammates at the 2017 World Championships 1,500 meters gold medalist Elijah Manangoi, who is also the reigning Commonwealth and Continental champion over the distance, Africa under 18 1,500 meters champion Vincent Keter, Edwin Melly and Timothy Sin at Nyayo National Stadium. Meanwhile, Team Ingebrigtsen, made up of the world's famous Ingebrigtsen brothers Jacob, Henry and Philip from Norway, will compete in the race at the Bislett Stadium in Oslo. There we put a cap on Channel 1 News Hour on this Monday evening. Thank you so much for joining me and, of course, being part of the conversation. Perpetua Nduta, you're watching from Odeiro. Thank you so much for being a good company. See you tomorrow. But before I leave, I remind you to keep safe, keep the distance, and as I always say, keep the faith. We will trounce the coronavirus pandemic. But before I go, I leave you with Rin Chuma Odim with the latest weather.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. Monday, the capital and its environs experienced cold weather conditions, and according to weather experts, these would persist. It is attributed to strong cold winds blowing from the south of the Indian Ocean towards the north. It is advisable that we take precautionary measures such as keeping warm and adhering to the COVID-19 directives in averting cold-related diseases. Tonight, most counties across the country will experience wet conditions, save for a few counties over the northeastern parts of the country, as well as the southeastern lowlands, that is Machakos, Makueni and Kitui, where we are expecting partly cloudy conditions. Tuesday morning, most counties as well will experience sunny conditions, save for Nairobi, Nyeri and Meru, where we're expecting light rains of a few places, equally to the coastal strip as well as the northern parts of the country, where we're expecting wet conditions to prevail. In the afternoon, several places will experience showers, which will be accompanied by thunderstorms, including the capital. Therefore, if you have plans to move out of the house, you better prepare for the showers, which will be experienced during the afternoon hours. Temperatures have slightly gone down across the country. We're expecting maximum of 34 degrees Celsius and lows of 25 in Mandera. The capital will experience maximum of 25 and lows of 15 degrees Celsius. That is how weather patterns are shaping up in the home country. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Do have a good night and see you tomorrow. God bless.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 22 7428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Next on,
Siamak will be crowned the king. Only Siamak.
In just 2 days, the world will know me as a daughter who destroyed the Maurya Empire to take her father's revenge. I created this problem by being selfish. In the absence of Acharya Chanakya, there is no one here to protect Ashok. I can stay away from my husband. I can forego my dream of a union. But I won't let any harm befall Ashok.
Thing, now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. And that is verse 19. But when you go to verse 1, the Bible says that this is what the Lord says. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through fire, you will not be burned. For I am the Lord who is with you. Praise the name of the Lord. I just want to encourage us that I know we are going through tough times as a nation, as a people, the entire world. We are going through issues, and sometimes we wonder, and many people are asking questions, where are our help going to come from? But this time, I just want to encourage us that the Word of God declares to us that there is something new that God is just about to do. Whenever such things happens, we need to understand and realize that God is just about to do something new in our lives. And it's a clear indication that the Lord is already involved in what we are doing. He says that, behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I declare to us today that God is just about to do something new in our lives. God is just about to do something new. And especially in this new month of June, God is just about to do something new in our lives. The only thing that we need to do in a time like this is we need to open our eyes. We need to open our eyes so that we see what God is just about to do. Whenever God says that He wants to do something new, we have a responsibility as a people, we have a responsibility as a nation to pray that God to open our eyes so that we see the new things that He's just about to do to us. The opportunities, the favors, the blessings, and God is just about to connect us with destiny helpers. Number two, it is important for us to pray that our heart may realize and know new things that God is just about to do in our lives. He says that He's making a way in the wilderness. And this month, God is going to do something new in our lives. God is going to make rivers in the desert. He says that we will not die of hunger, we will not die out of this pandemic. In our marriages, in our business, in our career, and in our relationship, God is just about to do something new in our lives. So our viewers, be encouraged. This month, the Lord is just going to do something new in our life. Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, be lifted high, be glorified. We honor you, we adore you. Thank you, Jehovah God, for your word says that you are just about to do something new in our lives. We are ready for this something new. Bless all our viewers, bless us as a nation, bless our president. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Day of the week where we bring you the bombest show on this side of the Sahara, if I do say so myself.
The big bomb it is, eh? It's all about swag, style and everything, you know. We keep your Monday rolling, and Miss B, today you look pretty spectacular.
I know, my son came through. I was like, you know, Miss Ichawachwa Nyuma, I do not care if the sun comes out or not. It is what it is.
It is what it is, man. I'm not also left out. You can see, eh? Exquisite like Sauti Soul, you know, clean and impeccable like Otile Brown. We're trying.
Speaking about Otile Brown and Sauti Soul, they both have released albums that are just
legendary albums.
Legendary, you know. Midnight Train, ile Sauti Soul finally came out.
By Otile Brown too, eh? Tell us about Midnight Train.
Midnight Train, oh boy, what do I say about this album? It is just an international album. Wow. As in the songs in there, you know, walikuwa washatupatia Brighter Days, Susanna, and Insecure. Alafu sasa tuko na rumba fulani hapo inaitwa Rumba Japani hapo ndani, eh? And then we also have another one called Sober, which is quite a deep song. As in, it's just beautiful. It's amazing. Thank you, Sauti Soul.
This is big, man. Guys, you should just go out there and, you know, sample this
Just
album.
in Love, Ikwaje.
It's big, man. Oh, Otile Brown just dropped a brand new, it's exclusive, his first album, Just in Love. He album iko na 10 songs, yeah? He did collaborations with some of the legendary musicians, you know, Jukes, OG, Major, Kidum, eh? I'm telling you, this album is big.
Must be bad, must be bad, must be bad. My name is Vivian Degwa. You can simply just call me Miss V.
And I go by the name Jack Mula, the party daddy, aka your girlfriend. Go my number.
And you know what this right here is? Grapevine.
What you gotta do?
So lately, after COVID-19 decided to happen, you know, artists have decided to go the virtual way, and we have just been treated by a couple of artists, you know, live performances, and it's been beautiful, you know. As much as we'd love to be present and just feel the vibrations, feel the vibes, we can't complain. We are enjoying.
Man, we've been enjoying, you know, dope performances, you know, live performances from Sauti Soul, King Kaka, you know, King Kaka, Kakasunkra, you remember that?
Yeah.
Man, and just last week, I'm telling you, OG just dropped another live performance. This is legendary performance, eh?
I know you're a big fan of the OG, so yani hapa.
Na you can be masako, omolo bodinga obako, presenta na ringa na paso, dadanya menunu warafo, mashonu pika kila shato, design ya tesi na mato, sindo hukujarurasho, kuwote ya soda na.
So the OG did his thing. As you all know, he's a boy from Oyole, you know, and he just came out of Kayole. Na ile kizungu yenye anaongea, my friend, inateremka mteremko hivi. You're just like, is this an American or something? And it's just a beautiful thing to see, you know.
It is.
You know.
Because, you know, in rap you need to be different, you know, out here. What makes you different from other rappers, you see?
Yeah.
You cannot be an international rapper with Ondiek Nyuka Quarter accent. Do you know Ondiek Nyuka Quarter accent? Yeah. You need to have this thing, you know. You need to have this thing, you know.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is also a good thing because sababu, you know, watoto wa ghetto wanaona, you know, we can we can be ourselves. We can be whatever we want to be.
1, 2, 3, leave me alone. 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 See what you eat. See what I'm doing. Leo napiga mtumba na kesho napiga lui. Na haiku host. Yangu maisha.
And nakwambia performances, you know, we had Masauti come in. I think OG and Masauti are very good friends because Ali come through for their two songs.
They're very good friends, and even in their songs, man, the chemistry is always up.
I know.
Yani toto kiboko, yani toto kiboko. Napenda vile unavodunda, ukitembea nafanya nikutake kwani Mola kakuumba. Unateketea vile goli lazima nkukate, sijui ka unagopi.
And let's talk about, you know, when the performance, I mean, when oh man, I'm losing my words. Come on.
Go on, find them.
You know, when OG starts the, you know, the live performance, alianza na rap up, you know, eh?
And I've never been ashamed and I don't care, so kila mtu